Alright, I'm trying to make a short video, so please excuse me for talking fast. This here is a Coopers that I'm going to make using this dark liquid malt extract. I don't remember when I bought this liquid malt extract, so it has been a while. Speaking of been a while, this Coopers, you probably can't tell because of the glare, but oh, there we go. It says August 8th, 2016. That's the best before date. It is now March 3rd, 2017, so it's been 7 months. I made a starter out of the yeast that was on top. You notice I've already opened it. And this is about 22 hours ago that I pitched the yeast, and there is still no sign of any fermentation. I did this recently with a different Coopers that I thought the fermentation, the starter got going and it took a while. But I thought the fermentation was a little bit strange on that. Turned out to be a pretty good beer though, so I'm not too worried about that. What I am a little bit concerned about is that the top of the can seems to be bulged. And the bottom of the can seems to be a little bulged. I've had some pretty old, older than this cans of Coopers before, and I've never found a bulge in it, so this could be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and make it anyway. What do I have to lose? I already bought it. And we'll just see how it turns out. Well, it's been another 24 hours, and let's just take a look. Not a hint of fermentation. Whatever happened to that can of Irish Stout apparently killed the yeast. I mean, completely. Nothing left. So fortunately, I have this package of SO4 here, Saf Ale. I'll add that in, but brewing this up is going to be another couple of days. 24 hours later, right, Ariel? The good news is it's all fermented out. It started fermenting within just a couple of hours, and this morning it was going pretty good. Now it's done. Look at all that trub being kicked up on the bottom as I turn on the stir plate. And I've done something unusual. This is the next day. And I have put... Whoa! Alright, you got to witness that. It just boiled over. My stirring was keeping... Look at that. My stirring was keeping it from boiling over up till that point, but I wanted to raise it to boiling temperature just because when I opened the can... When I opened the can, it made a psst sound, and some of the syrup, whatever you call it, what do you call it? Extract, kind of sprayed out. So it was definitely under pressure, and I just wanted to make sure that whatever was living in there, if anything, it had a chance to die. That is, if it was something that would die in temperatures of 100 degrees Celsius or less. I don't know, I'd probably get up to 99.5 degrees, something like that at my elevation. 125 grams of dextrose later, Brewer's Friend says this should be exactly 5%. It also says it should be at 1.051, and I guess you can't really see through there, but I think it's at 1.052. Well, it's been 17 days. You can tell by the top of the tube, well, it kind of looks as though it's a little bit carbonated rather than flat. On the other hand, that could just be from agitation due to pouring it in. It's a little hard to tell with that foam on top, but I think it's down to about 1.016. So I'm hoping it's fermented out, but after 17 days, I'm eager to get it out of this Coopers fermenter because there's no airlock on these things. Well, you can see bubbles coming up. That is from my CO2 tank hooked up to the out connector. That's just to keep the keg full of CO2 so it doesn't get oxygen in it. It's going to be interesting to find out what this is like. Now I've got it up to 30 pounds. On the other hand, look at how empty the tank is. Hopefully it'll be enough. I have very, very clean and sanitized hands. And I am going to collect in this bottle as much of this trub as I can. So there it is. Always a bit of a risk, I guess, but that is full of trub. The bottle was probably not a good idea. It's going to be like trying to get ketchup out of a freshly opened ketchup bottle, I think. But I got it to just pitch some trub the way some other people are doing now, just to experiment with it. Hopefully I don't ruin a batch of brew with it, but we'll see. Boy, am I glad to finally be doing this. It has been 10 days. Why has it been 10 days? Because I am on a diet. And I have a spreadsheet. As you can see up here, it says beer. That's because every day it tells me whether the day is a beer day, that I can have some beer, or if it's an exercise day. If it's an exercise day, it's all these pink colors instead of beer. It does that when I get behind. I wasn't expecting 10 straight days of no beer. This one at the top where it says 505, that was the day I kegged the beer. So the beer has been in the kegerator for 10 days, and I originally had it under 30 pounds of pressure I showed you. It used up all the CO2 within, I think, a day or two, and actually backed up the line. That's why I took the line off of there to clean it. Over here I've got the got a starter going for my next Marisodder Cascade. And I guess I gotta get a glass. How's that? Bring it over here. Try to remember which one it's in. I think it's in this one. Let's see. Maybe I better check this. This is the one. Well, looks like I gotta hook it up. Got it hooked up. It's on the left, it turns out. And cleaned the star sand out of the lines. And when I did that, I noticed that there's not a whole lot of head on it. So I think it's definitely a bit short of carbonation. So I am going to crank up the dispensing carbonation just to give it a little foam. Waiting for it to settle down. And there we go. And that didn't work this time. It must be really flat. Oh well, what am I going to do? I guess I'm going to have to leave it on 30 pounds for a couple more days. But we'll give it a try, however flat it happens to be. Yeah, it's 10 days at 3 pounds. What's the problem? Okay, the flatness for me in a stout is a pretty big deal. In terms of flavor, wow, does that ever taste dark? And I think the flatness of it is contributing to it tasting as dark as it tastes. It kind of has a bitterness that shows up on the side of the tongue, which may come from using so much dark extract, or it may come from the age. I'm going to have to test this again once it gets carbonated. So I guess there's going to be another segment on this. All right, it's time to have another go at this. Watch your feet, Ariel. And get the nice frosty mug. Stopped at the local homebrew store, filled up my tank so that I can carbonate this properly if it didn't really work. Got 4 ounces of Fuggles because I think I'm done with the Cascade. I'm going to make one more Marisodder Cascade Smash and do some dry hopping on it, and that'll be the last one. What I've learned about Cascade is that I really don't much care for it. So, let's give this one a shot. Got it under a lot of pressure. At least there's a little bit of foam on it this time. But not much, especially considering how fast it poured out. And I do not like having all that pressure on my kegerator's hoses. What is that? It's about 15 pounds, I think. I'm sure they can handle that just fine, but I don't like it, so I'm going to have to carbonate it with my small tank. Now to give this a shot. Got to break off the... Looks like it was a little wet when I put it away last night. And here we go. Oh. The carbonation makes a heck of a difference. And I think it does taste different from other Irish stouts I've made from Coopers. But I've never made one straight before. I've always used it as a base with some other hops and other ingredients. And of course it didn't call for dark extract like I made this with. So it definitely doesn't taste the way Coopers intended it. It's got a it's not too bitter. It's not sort of like being in a room with a lot of speakers that are not turned up loud. So it's sort of like there's a lot of sound, but it's not very intense. It's not very loud, I guess. The flavor is sort of like that. But it's good, and it's not something I would dump out by any stretch. So in spite of the fact that it was old and the can was bulging, and when I opened it, it went psh, seems to have turned out pretty okay. Oh yeah, that's good. Alright, so if you'd like to see a recent homebrew video, like this one, you can click up to the right. And if you'd like to see the beginning of my weight loss series, you can click down at the bottom right. And if you'd like to subscribe, it's over on the left. See ya.